Magnusson flew to Moscow many times to talk about oil, food and cigarettes. Oil seems to be the best avenue to take at this time. The future potential is enormous. But for the moment, the difficulties of doing business in Russia seem even greater.
The difficult part here in Russia today is it's very difficult to find out who is in charge.
Passport, please. Yes, we have all the passports.
So if you make an agreement and sign an agreement, you are never sure if that is the final person to take the final decision. And that makes it very difficult because it takes a long time.
There is only one future for the countries of the former Soviet Union. That is to embrace the Western capitalist system. But the Soviets themselves are hugely hampered by the legacy of 70 years of state-controlled communism. Nonetheless, thousands of eager, entrepreneurial Westerners swamp the country looking to set up businesses in this land of apparently unlimited opportunity.
It's an enormous country, or countries now with all the different republics, and with a lot of valued assets, which they have to be developed one or the other way. There's no other way for these countries to survive. And there's no other way for these countries to survive than to take assistance from Western know-how and technology. And of course, I cannot, I'm just a very little piece in the whole thing.
It must be possible to do good business here. Hundreds of millions of Russians will take anything a Western entrepreneur can offer them. This could be the ideal source of positive cash flow.
It's a consumption every day of food. Everybody has to eat every day. It doesn't matter what time it is, if it is good or bad times. The same with energy. You need to heat up your house, or you need to have the industry, or you need to have electricity, whatever. Every day, and it's a consumption.
What's today's mission, Lars?
Try to finalize one business deal here. And I don't think that's going to be a problem because we have agreed on almost all the points.
We're close?
Yes, I think so.
So in another few hours you'll have a major deal?
Yes, absolutely. No problem.
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay, good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While waiting for news from the Turkmenistanis, Magnusson visits one of his business partners in the CIS, the engineer Tugan Tomov. With him, Magnusson is looking into the possibilities for cooperation in several fields, not least in Russian oil. Magnusson believes in cooperation and tries for all his deals to find partners that spread the risk and enlarge his expertise. Moscow was not built for free enterprise, so Tomov's office is situated in a flat in a Moscow suburb. Its architecture reflects the old regime's attitude to the individual.
Human beings should be inspired to create its own ideas, and not like in a socialist system be pressed down because it has its own ideas. I'm for a system where the working people, which is always the biggest part of the population in a country, have a decent salary, can be able to afford a holiday, buy a car, buy a TV and everything. And this is also the best countries to work in because the consumption is there and the purchase power is there.
Ну ее еще пока нет, вы знаете, как она только появится, я ей передам, чтобы она с вами связалась. Она знает с кем, да? Она знает с кем.
While Tomov and Magnusson discuss the ongoing business, Magnusson's mind is set on proceedings elsewhere in Moscow. After more than a year of negotiations, it looked like today would be the day. The Turkmenistani government likes Magnusson's ideas, but how a complex contract with Western businessmen should be worded is hard to understand. Magnusson tried to make things easier by simplifying the contract, but still there are problems. So the signing is off for today. First, more paperwork, more explanations. Lars has hired an American law firm with an office in Moscow to help with negotiations. They have, since the beginning of the New Age in the CIS, worked to keep abreast of the development of the new legal structures.
There's no real law enforcement. So you have, like you have in the Western countries, you bring in a few lawyers and you make a contract according to the law of the country. And if some of the party break the contract, you can go back and you can sue them. That's the biggest problem I see, the uncertainty, because of that you have no real law and courts you can take people to if they don't live up to their contract.
The arrival of capitalism has led to many changes in Russian society. There's a feeling now that instant wealth for all is just around the corner. Everyone is focused on just one thing: making money. The difficulties involved in doing so, though, aren't yet widely appreciated. And something completely new is going to have to be learned: how to make a profit.
Profit always matters. For wherever you are in this world, you need to make money, and you can see that here. This is a beautiful city, but very bad maintained because they didn't have the profit minded. And that is, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, if you're in Russia or if you're in Moscow or Washington or if you are in Paris, you need to make money to survive. That's the way it is in this world, and I didn't invent it. It was invented long before I was born.
I am not for a super capitalist system that you have a few percent of people living in very wealthy and you have 95% of people starving. It's absolutely a crazy system. I think the Western Europe and United States and some countries in the Far East have the closest or the best system up to date.
Magnusson has been traveling continuously to and from Moscow since 1991. He's convinced of the worth of his ideas and is absolutely determined to make them work. Lars Magnusson manages to set up a meeting with the Russian Minister of Energy. The resources of this country are enormous, and Russia needs Western capital to modernize its oil industry. Magnusson approaches this opportunity with great care.
The problem what happened now is that you have all these people still sitting who has been running the government and being in leading position. They're still there. They're still interfering. They still tell you what to do, and stop the development. They frustrate the Western businessman. So it's going to be less people. Go to this country and try to do business there because the frustration to don't come anywhere. If you come so far you think you are there, then somebody else pop up, no, you cannot do it because I have to say something.
And that next goal is in sight. Back in Moscow, Lars knows that he will succeed this time. The most important policymakers from Turkmenistan are on their way to close the deal. It's just a matter of a few outstanding details and a signature. With Turgan Tomov, Magnusson discusses the latest political developments in Russia. However, the flow of ideas for new businesses and the discussions of how to make them productive for all parties must continue. Magnusson has already spent a lot of time and money in carefully developing his contacts in the former Soviet Union. And it's time to see results. Patience is what Western businessmen need when working in the CIS, and Lars has plenty of that.
No. A lot of Western businessmen has been here and think that we go to Russia and make a deal and we be rich in a month. And then they find out that that's not the way it is, and they get disappointed. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Less than 20% will have patience enough to stay. But the people who stays and have the patience and the holding power financially to be here will probably be rewarded, but it's not done overnight. You have to take time. I've been here now around 2 years, and hopefully within 2-3 months I start doing my first, have my return on the investment. You cannot go to a country like Russia and see it in short term.
The Russians are suspicious. They don't know much about the market economy.
I can hardly blame them. If you are told for a long time that profit doesn't matter, then how can you learn it overnight?
3 years ago, Magnusson sold off the real estate that made him rich and independent. He then took all the time he needed carefully to set up his new ventures. He chose the hard road, doing business with the Commonwealth of Independent States. A bigger risk is hardly imaginable.
If I come to a point that I would say I have the risk to losing all this, of course that is a very unpleasant experience, and if that happened. But you can't give in. You have to think, and that's why I think, okay, if I would lose all this, I have to start all over again, even if it's going to be very difficult.
Now, after years of talk and calculation, the deal is on. This will, on signing, become Lars-Erik Magnusson's deal of a lifetime. That signature, he hopes, should ensure him his continuous cash flow for decades, thus realizing his main goal, to create security for his company and his family. The farmer's son from Ludvika started off buying a corn mill and selling it for a handsome profit. Today he enjoys his wealth and is forever looking for new challenges. He marries the stoical patience of a Swede with the flamboyant lifestyle of an American. His courage in business and willingness to take risks is typical of the true tycoon.
It went very well. The final looks like we get an agreement we can live with, and an agreement will be very prosperous for both joint venture partners in this deal.
Was it a long run to get here?
Yes, it has been a long run, almost 2 years. Although this deal we have been working on for the last year, but we would never get this deal if we wouldn't have been here for the last 2 years. And it's, well, still have to be some points to be finalized, but it looks very good.
When all is finalized, what's on the bottom line? What is it?
It is one of the largest oil concession in the offshore oil concession in the Caspian Sea. So if we can finalize the thing and start operating that, it's a big breakthrough for me and for the Larmig Energy Group, because it is for many years in the future steady cash flow.